Hey, everybody, welcome back to another fantastic edition of the His and Her Money Show, where we are helping you to get better money, become a better couple, and live a better life. We know there are so many shows you can be listening to right now. There's like 1 kajillion podcasts in the earth, but your ears are plugged into our show. And for that, we are grateful. We love the work that we do because we get to help you on your journey to freedom, whatever freedom looks like for you. In today's show, we are excited about. We have a very special guest queued up to help you on your career path. That's right. We all got a job, man, and we all need to make sure that the type of work that we're doing is the type of work we love. And to help us with that conversation, we have none other than Ken Coleman. He is known as America's career coach. He is the #1 national best-selling author of The Proximity Principle, which is what we're going to dive into today. And he's also the nationally syndicated radio host of the Ken Coleman Show, which I am a fan of. And he is a Ramsey personality. He pulls from his own personal struggles, missed opportunities, and career successes, and he uses that to help people like you and I discover what we were born to do. And he provides practical steps to make your dream job a reality. Ken Coleman, welcome to the His and Her Money Show, sir.
Tolet, I am so excited to be with you, man. This is fun. We talked about this recently, and I can't believe we made it happen so quickly. So I love what you're doing, you and your wife. You're helping so many people, and I'm honored to be a part of this.
We are thrilled to have you. Been a fan of yours, believe it or not, for a while. We first discovered Dave Ramsey and the whole team in 2008, I want to say. I believe
Okay.
he was on Fox News at that time, and that's
Mhm.
how we stumbled upon him. Then we started going to the live events, which is where our first interaction with
Yes,
you was. Because
that's
back in the
right.
day, you were
Yeah,
hosting and keeping everybody engaged, and you progressed and progressed and
yeah.
progressed to your own show. You're going around helping people with their career life. So, talk to us about this part of the journey for you. You know, some people, matter of fact, are being introduced to you for the very first time. And so they're hearing about the work that you're doing now. But for those that are coming into your presence for the first time right now, can you just say hello to them and let them know what you're all about?
Yeah. Well, hey, everybody. I'm so thrilled to be with you today. And the message I want to lead with is also the answer to Tolet's question, which is what I'm about. And I'm about helping as many men and women as possible realize the truth that you were created to fill a unique role. You are needed, and that means you must do it. Somebody out there needs you to be the best version of you, not a version of what your grandmother wants you to be, or your pastor, or your high school coach, or your friends, but the best version of you. I believe that we were created to work. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be a workaholic, and I'm not saying that your entire identity is wrapped up in your work. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you were created to contribute. And I focus on the work contribution. I really believe that if you look at, the two aspects of every human being's life, you've got your relationship life, which is most important, your family and your friends and the role that you play there. And then your work life, the work that you do that contributes something to the world. And I'm trying to help people realize that there's something specific that you were created to do that only you can do in the way that you do it, and that is your contribution. And so we start with that premise, and that's what I want people to know, that that's what I'm about. That I believe that is true for you as I believe it is true for me. And so I have dedicated my professional life to developing a methodology off of that philosophy that you were created to fill a unique role. You are needed. You must do it. And so we focus on helping men and women get clear, first of all, on what that is. What is that unique contribution? And I call it the sweet spot where there are multiple jobs and multiple career paths. It's not one silver bullet, which can be, when you try to think about the dream job, you go, "Oh, it's just one job." It's intimidating, like it is like, who's my life mate? Who's my soulmate? And that can be very intimidating. And so we begin to help people see that there are multiple ways that you can make that contribution. But we look first at your talent. That's what you do best, hard skills and soft skills. Your passion, I define passion as work that you love to do. You enjoy engaging in this activity, this function, and you do it because you love it. It has nothing to do with notoriety and money. You just love it. And then mission is the results of your work that matter deeply to you. All work creates a result. And so when we can get all three of those gifts from your creator aligned, talent, passion, and mission, it looks like this. You are in your sweet spot when you use what you do best to do work you love to do, to produce results that matter to you. So
Yeah.
that is what I'm about in a nutshell.
As I was reading through your book and I listened to your show, I think that there are three categories of workers. I think there are people who love their job, but I think there are also people who appreciate their job, meaning that maybe they don't love their job, but they appreciate the fact that the work that they do provides for their family, provides the things that they need in their life. And so they don't go to work miserable, but they don't necessarily say, "This is my life's purpose." And then there's the third category of people who just hate their job. They don't like it. They don't like it, Ken. And so I'm wondering if I fall in those latter two categories. I haven't gotten to that first category where I love the work that I do. Um, but I got all these responsibilities, Ken. Like I can't just up and leave or up and shift or up and pivot. I have a wife, I have kids, I have a husband, I have kids. I'm a single parent, I have kids. Um, Navigating what you're trying to teach us in the proximity principle can sometimes be shrouded in the lens of my current responsibilities outside of work, which could hinder me from going down this path that you're trying to take me down. What would you
Mm.
try to say to those people?
Well, the first thing I'd say is you're right. You do have all those responsibilities. And and I get it. And I'm not asking you to advocate those responsibilities, to forget them. I'm not saying that. That's a false narrative. And see, that very response is the voice of fear and doubt in our lives. And we have to understand that this is a false choice. Working and living in your sweet spot does not require you to be an irresponsible, reckless adult that takes on all this risk of financial ruin and shame. But again, I love that you asked the question that way because you really did set it up the way that everybody kind of comes at this when they are in their 30s and 40s, maybe even late 20s, if they've kind of gotten into the rhythm of the real world, which is basically that work is a utilitarian function. It's just go get yourself a safe job, a good job, and live this safe life that hopefully we can attach some good to. It's a false narrative. So once I established that, I'd say, now look, you can figure out what your sweet spot is and you can get there. It's going to take some time. Your timeline may be shorter than my timeline. But the reality is there's a process. And I'm not just staying at that starting point that I described just a few minutes ago, which is the first stage of the 7 stages to meaningful work, to working like no one else. What I described with that talent, passion, mission breakdown was how to get clear. That's stage 1. Well, once we get clear on what it is we want to do, just in the sense of I want to use this talent or these talents to do this work to produce these results, I look in the marketplace and I go, what are all the different jobs and career paths that allow me to do that? So once we figure that out, we go, oh, okay, I know all the ways I can do it. What do I need to do to get qualified? That's stage 2, Talit. So now we go, okay, stage 2 is get qualified. Well, while we're getting qualified, we can also be stepping into stage 3 simultaneously, which is get connected. And connections, as you know, and relationships are the currency that get us the ticket to that dream job eventually. And so we get qualified, we get connected, then opportunities come to us. That's what the proximity principle was all about is stage 3, get connected. And as you know, I teach in the book that when you're around the right people and in the right places, opportunities knock on your door. You're not having to kick any doors down. That's all been romanticized with a bunch of cheap motivational gibberish out there and in movies. The reality is that really successful people have opportunities show right up to their front door when they least expect it because they've been around the right people and in the right places and they stay there. All right. So when opportunities get to you, that's stage 4, get started. So now we launch. This is where most people stay on the sidelines of life. They're just scared to step out because there is some unknown there. And then for those who do get started, now they're focusing on the next stage, stage 5, which is get promoted. And as we keep getting promoted, we keep moving up the ladder, eventually we get into the dream job. But are we done in stage 6, get the dream job? No. This is where now we're at the top of the mountain, the vision we always longed for. And so now we're about expanding the dream job and leaving a legacy. And so that is a simultaneous stage to stage 6. Stage 6 and 7 are together. You get the dream job, and then you give yourself away. You're working for influence and legacy and significance personally. And as you'll notice, when I get to that level, success and satisfaction come along with that. But I'm not looking for success and satisfaction. I'm looking for my significant role in playing that. And as a result, success, financial success, other notoriety and things of that nature, and then the true satisfaction with the work that comes with it. It's like the engine is chasing significance, and the caboose is the success and satisfaction.
Legal and General America is a leader in low-cost, high-quality life insurance.
For nearly 70 years, Legal and General America has been providing financial protection to over 1.3 million families and businesses.
LGA makes understanding and applying for life insurance easy.
And agents are standing by to help you find the best coverage to fit your family's needs.
All you have to do is go to hisandhermoney.com/LGA to get a free quote.
This conversation is ridiculously important because there is a growing narrative and sentiment that in order to do work that you love, it has to be something you created, like starting a business, or it has to be something of significance in your mind, like going into ministry of some sort.
Yeah.
Rarely is this conversation tailored toward an occupational career 9 to 5 situation, which is where most people are.
That's right.
But we don't equate the two. Like my purpose, my passion can be exhibited inside of a 9 to 5 salaried career.
That's right.
How do we shift our mindsets back to that? Because there is so much fodder on the internet that says you gotta go do your own things to find that purpose in life.
Yeah. Well, I love that question because I had a caller yesterday on my show to call in, and he was like, "Hey, Ken, I've been listening to your show for a while. I'm reading your book, The Proximity Principle. I know what I want to do, and I actually know how to get there. I just need you to kind of help me see, is this, because it's just not very romantic. It's not like a big thing like some of your other callers." And I stopped him right there and I said, "That is a lie. And I'm telling you, your vision is just as significant as somebody else's. It has nothing to do with the size and scope and how dramatic or whatever the situation is." And so I'd start with that, and then I'd look at all of those folks and I'd say, "Listen to me, all work is honorable in the sense of if you're doing honorable things. If you are doing work that is illegal, right, or unethical, of course. But aside from that, if you are working, work creates a result." And so back to what I said at the beginning of our conversation, if you believe like I do, and and I'm not going to preach at anybody, your journey of faith is your journey. All right. I'm not a proselytizer. What I am is a purpose dispenser. And I'm telling you, I believe you were created. I don't think you're an accident. And I think that you were created to make a contribution. And if you believe that is true, like I do, then you understand that if you are a librarian or a teacher, or you do coding, or you are a janitor at a high school, you're so much more than the job title. What you are is a person who's been put in a situation where you can make a contribution that does make this world a better place. And so you got to look at the fact that you are creating a product or service, you are offering a product or a service that does have some positives. Give you an example. I was on the Entre Leadership Program with Daniel Tardy, it's our leadership podcast. He said, "Ken, we're talking about purpose in companies." He said, "What would you say to the small business owner who owns a porta potty company?" And they're going, "Ken, what's my grand purpose in in manufacturing and distributing porta potties?" And I was like, it was so great. And he hit me with it. I didn't know he was going to hit me with it. And I just said, well, let's just look at what porta potties have to do with progress that actually matter in a lot of people's lives. Let's think about that mom, the soccer mom who's at the soccer game. She's got 3 kids, her husband's out of town, and one of the toddler boys has got to go to the bathroom. And she's a mile and a half from anything, or 2 miles, and getting in the car and all the kids and all the babies and the strollers. But because there's a porta potty right there at the soccer fields, her life just got tremendously easier. And she can take that little toddler boy and he does his business and he can mess it all up and he comes back out and back to the game. That's just one example. What about on all those work sites where construction progress is being made? It's not always about this grandiose purpose. It's just about, do we make the world function just a little bit better? And when you can begin to attach, it doesn't have to be romantic, but when you can attach progress to what you do and convenience to what you do, well, let me tell you something. If nothing else, you making that porta potty and making it work so that little 5-year-old boy can go in there and go potty while his mom stands outside and can watch the rest of the game, and she doesn't have to leave, and it just takes her stress level down. Now, again, I'm making an extreme example here, but all work matters. So you have to find how your work matters and say, does it matter to me as well? Because if you're doing work that matters to somebody else, but it doesn't matter to you, now this is back to that passion question. Do you love the work? Go find something you love to do. Last piece on this, because I think he's the greatest speaker the world has ever known outside of Jesus, and that's Martin Luther King Jr., who famously, and you can look this up on the internet, there's a wonderful black and white video of him addressing some school kids. And it was an impromptu visit. He just stopped in and it was speaking to elementary school students. And I believe it's where he first uttered, and maybe the only time he uttered the story, where he said, if you're going to be a street sweeper, and I'm paraphrasing him, sweep the streets as though all of heaven is watching. Be the Michelangelo of street sweepers. And what a powerful message that Martin Luther King Jr. gave those young people that day, and gives me goosebumps right now as I just simply try to paraphrase what he said. So I think we need to understand, if you're the janitor and you're sweeping and you think, well, these kids aren't paying attention to me, nobody's paying attention. It may be the relationship of one kid that you see in the hallway who's down, and you get an opportunity to speak into that kid's life because you are simply mopping the floors. That's the perspective we've got to have.
Listen, guys, the fact that Ken was able to freestyle and help a person who owned a porta potty business see the purpose in what they're doing, the reason y'all need to get this book, man. The Proximity Principle is the title of it. So I want to get back to something that you just said, because it starts, the whole framework that you outline in the book starts with us looking inside. But there may be somebody who's saying, I've been doing what I've had to do for so long that I don't even know what it is that I want to do. I forgot, like those dreams I had in high school and college got buried, as you said earlier, in the rhythm of life.
Yes.
So if this starts with me figuring that out, the passion piece, how do I start that process? How do I go deep to figure out what it is that I am passionate about, that I do want to do?
Oh, I love this. This is so fun. Okay, so we're going to go back into the talent, passion, mission framework that I gave you earlier, but I'm going to give you all actual homework assignment, and it's going to blow you away. But the first thing we have to do before we get into that is we have to address the mindset. Talit, you know this. I mean, you get this. Mindset is everything. So if you're going to truly dig and discover the real you and uncover all of that crap that life has laid on top of your heart. I want you to grab this analogy. Then we're going to go to mindset, and then we're going to dive in. Okay, here we go. And I'm telling you, those of you who are watching and listening right now, I want you to really just kind of suspend all disbelief and doubt and just trust me. Now let's start with the analogy here. I want you to, just for a moment, put your hands on your heart. And we're real quiet right now. I want you to feel the heartbeat. Now, right now, I got a sweater and a shirt on. My man Talat's got a sweatshirt on. But if we press in and we're quiet for 3 to 5 seconds, I want you to feel your heartbeat. You can feel it. It's there. But if I kept putting on and you kept putting on layer after layer, coats, sweatshirts, whatever, we just layered up 6 or 7 layers, right? maybe a thick blanket on top of it, and we put our hands back on our heart where we just moments ago felt that faint heartbeat through our sweater, we could not feel our heartbeat. And yet we're alive. We know it's beating, but we can't feel it. That's where those of you are that Talit just described. You know you're alive, but it's been a long time since your heart was alive in your work. And as Talit so beautifully laid out, life has happened and it's just laid a bunch of stuff on your heart. So that's where we sit. But understand, what do we do to feel that heart? We uncover it. So this is the process. And this is the mindset you got to have. When all of us came into this world, about the age of 2 or 3, we're babbling, we're not saying really good sentences, but we are these little walking antennas. And we're just walking around, taking in life, and we're asking mom and dad hundreds of questions a day. Nobody ever sits a toddler down and says, now listen, I want you to be really, really curious. Try to ask mommy and daddy hundreds of questions a day. No parent ever says that. In fact, if we're honest, parents, we get a little irritated at some point because the kids are just endlessly asking questions. Why? 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 We answer it. We're 8 layers into whys. Are the kids trying to be obnoxious? No, they're not. What they're trying to do is get to the bottom of things. So here's my point. You have to return your mind at the start of this process to that childlike wonder. You've been wandering. Watch this, folks. You've been wandering professionally instead of wondering. How powerful to take that A out and replace it with an O. Go from wandering, stop wandering, and start wondering. So if we can get to this childlike wonder and really go back to the times in our life where we had some wonder. Maybe you were 9, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. What did you dream about? We want to start there before we dive into this process. Was there a time in my life where I said, I want to be this when I grow up? And it wasn't the 4 or 5-year-old who just said, I want to be a cowboy or a taxi driver because you saw a horse or you saw a taxi. You're like, oh, that looks cool. Okay. So we begin this process to say, I've got to return to the early days before life started to pile on me. And what did I wonder about? Let's get that childlike wonder. All right. That's the mindset. Now, back to the construct. We can roll through this quick. Talent. What do I do best? What I want you to do is get out a piece of paper, and I prefer a pencil so we can erase it. We don't get hung up on writer's block. And I want you to just write out the things you do best, not the things you're average at, the things that you're really good at. What would people tell you if you asked them, what have I always done well? Think about what has come easy to you your whole life, whether it be a subject in school or a task. Excuse me. I've got allergies, folks. Don't worry. I'm good. And walk through that process of hard skills and soft skills. These are some skills, talents that I have. So I might be really good at technology. I might be really good at communication. Then I want you to think of soft skills, things like I'm very patient. I'm a very driven person. I like to go from A to Z. I finish things. I'm a good listener. I'm very empathetic. I'm very compassionate, whatever the soft skills are. Now, you can go online if you want to look up the list of hard skills, soft skills, and this helps you. But here's the deal. Put down the things you do best. And I like to see you do between 3 to 5 talents, things that you do really, really well. All right. Now, another column. All right. So we got 3 columns on the page. Next column is passion. And I define that as work you love to do. Why don't you just write down tasks, functions, a role you love to play. So that could be, I love to coach. I love to organize. Think of work itself, okay, an actual function or a task or a role, and write down the things that you love to do. If you could do this all day, every day, it'd feel like a pretty good day because you really love to do this kind of work. And then the third column is mission, results of your work that matter. Now, before you fill this column out, I want you to go back and look at what did I write down for the things that I do well, talent, and what did I write down for work that I love to do? Those are clues to the results because think about it. This talent is used to do this work, and you already know what kind of results the work creates. So what are the results that you most care about? Now, I'm going to give you 3 questions that'll help with mission. I want you to think, who are the people I most want to help? What's the problem or challenge or desire that they have? Let me explain this one real quick. It could be single moms, or it could be people that are dealing with substance abuse, or it could be people that need healthy nutrition and exercise, people that need help with their money. Okay, whatever it is, who are the people? Think of those people. I want to help these people. Now, this is the easy part. Once I've identified the people, I'm saying, well, what is the challenge that they have or the need? So maybe you want to help women feel good about themselves. So it maybe not be a problem. Maybe it's just, I want to sell women's shoes, or I want to design women's shoes. It could be a desire. It doesn't have to always be a challenge or a problem. So we identify what is it that they need, or what is it that they want. And then the last piece is, what's the solution? So people I want to help, problem that they have or desire they have. And then what's the solution or solutions, plural, to that need or desire? Now all of a sudden we go, well, these are the results I want to create. So we tie it all in. And what you're going to find, Tala, is for the first time in your life, the people that we're describing, that you described, that we're talking to, you're going to see where your contribution is. That's your sweet spot. When you use what you do best, talent, to do what you love, passion, to produce results that matter to you, mission, then now you're in your sweet spot. People can look at you and go, wow, you were born for this. You know it, they know it. And I use the sweet spot analogy because if you think about sports, whether it be a baseball bat, a tennis racket, a hockey stick, a golf club, when you hit the ball in the sweet spot, what happens? It feels effortless and you get maximum performance. That's the sweet spot. That's why we use it. So inside that sweet spot, you begin to look to the marketplace. I'll give you one example to tie all this in. One of my top talents is communication. Another is discernment and kind of taking, I call it distilling. So it's kind of communication, discernment, and distilling. I can take complex situations and I can find the simple path. Well, those are 3 of my top 5. Well, I'm very passionate. The work I love to do is I love to perform publicly. I love to speak and write and create content. I love to coach people. I love to counsel. I love to help people maximize. So that's the work I love to do. And broadcasting is one of those pieces of work. Well, when I first started out, Tyler, I went into sports broadcasting because I love sports so much. But I realized that it had 2 of the 3. Yes, I was using my talent. Yes, I was performing passion, broadcasting, but I wasn't producing the results that I wanted because sports radio or television, nothing wrong with that. I consume it like a maniac. It's an entertainment result. There's nothing wrong with that. It's honorable. I just don't want to produce entertainment. I want to produce encouragement and equipping. So that's why I shifted to more the mainstream radio and television is where we're going next. And I'm helping people with a very, very specific mission to help them discover who they are, be the best version of it. So that was the shift for me. And I realized when I did sports radio, I was like, that's not the full picture. Oh, if I can broadcast to bring personal growth and purpose to people, now that's my jam. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but I just dropped some gold on you folks because that process works. It worked for me. That's how I developed it. And that's how I figured out how to get to where I am now and understanding there was an arrow pointing into the marketplace to do what it is that I just described.
The subtitle of your book is The Proven Strategy That Will Lead to the Career You Love. And processes for people to walk through are often uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Very few processes in life are comfortable. Usually, God is using them to sift you, to prune you, to mold you into a better version of yourself. But it is a process. Can you share the other side of the process? You went through it yourself. That this is based on not just what you've heard, not just what you research, but what you have actually walked through in your own life, and you went through the necessary process. For those who are inspired and encouraged by what you said, because that's 2 of your top gifts,
Yeah.
but now they have to put one foot in front of the
Yes.
other. A little bit hesitant about that.
Yeah.
About what they might find out about themselves, the energy and mental fortitude that it will take to endure this process.
Yeah.
Talk to us from the other side. Why
Yeah.
should we get your book, walk through the 7 stages that you outline, and walk through this process.
Yeah. Well, I'm writing a book right now that does unpack all 7 stages, but the proximity principle is so important and it really focuses on stage 3, which is get connected, but it has a little bit of application to the get qualified. So let's say that you get through that process of get clear right now that we just walked through. How do we use the proximity principle? Let's first of all tell you what it is. Okay. This is what it says. In order to do what you want to do, okay, that's drop in that dream job right there. You got to be around people that are doing it and in places where it is happening. Now, pretty simple statement, but the formula out of the principle is this: the right people plus the right places equals opportunity. So let's talk about on the front end of the proximity principle. How do we use it? Let's say you're walking through this get clear formula that I just unpacked. And let's say we've got 3 or 4 different ideas. Okay. And let me just use an example from the show. Somebody called in recently. So I've got a young lady who's thinking about, she's walked through this and she goes, I want to help people. I want to help people with their health, specifically those that are having physical problems and emotional problems as a result of that. And so I want to bring the medicinal help and as a result, bring in my compassion and empathy and in a bedside manner type situation, also encourage them emotionally as I'm helping them with the physical side. That's really great. But she goes, Ken, I get it. That's my purpose. But now how do I do that in the marketplace? So she's on the phone with me. And so we start walking through some things. I said, well, identify 3 or 4 things that would allow you to do that. So she said, well, being a nurse is top of mind, physical therapy, or maybe even a PA, a physician's assistant. She didn't want to be a full-blown doctor. So now she's got 3 things there. All right. So this is applying to your question. So how do we use the proximity principle on the front end of that to figure out which one of those is the best path? So what we do is we go, she needs to get around people that are doing that and get in places where that is happening. So how does she do that? So she starts talking to everybody she knows. Does she know somebody who is a PA, a physical therapist, or a nurse? Probably. If she doesn't, she knows somebody who does know somebody. And so she's having coffee, lunch, a Zoom call, whatever. And this is the process of clarify and verify. This is how we use the proximity principle to really lock in clarity. And so she's hanging out with them. Maybe she shadows them. So now she's just around the right person and in the right place. Maybe she does some volunteering at the hospital or for a local physical therapist and shadows and just watches all the work that's done that day. Here's what's going to happen. As her brain begins to process that work through the form of an interview with one of those people, learning everything about them and how they got there and what they do in a day, the head and heart are going to align at some point. And the head and heart are going to go with both pieces of information, what the heart feels about the work and the head gathering the knowledge, right? And it's either going to go ding, ding, ding or and so that's the first way you use the proximity principle. We get around people that are doing it. And here's the other great news. Once we figure out what it is, so in this case, let's say that this gal chose nursing and she hung out with several different types of nurses. And then she realizes, you know what, I want to be in the NICU, little babies that are born and they're in ICU. And that's where I want to be. Great. How do I get in? Well, she's got to go to nursing school. And so she picks the nursing school. She finds out how much it's going to cost and blah, 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 and how she gets qualified. But while she's getting qualified in nursing school, she's spending a lot of time connecting with NICU nurses. And she's building relationships and she gets to meet their supervisor and she's learning all these different opportunities, whether it be in this hospital system over here, over there. And so she's building the connection so that before she even leaves nursing school, she's got great relationships with people that could hire her and want to hire her. So whatever the career path is, once you figure it out, the proximity principle is all about connecting so that I can get opportunities. And as you know, in the book, I unpack 5 archetypes of people and 5 archetypes of places. And the reason they need to get the book is because I walk them. It's like I grab them by the hand. Come here, give me your hand. And I'll walk you to the right people. And I'm going to walk you up to the right places. And I give you short homework assignments at the end of each chapter. And what happens is I take out all of the fear and all of the mythical, how do I get the opportunity? Here's how. Get around these people and get in these places. And guess what? Opportunities are going to come to you. It's like getting to a train station, Talent. If I want to catch a train, where am I going? I'm going to go to the train station. In fact, I don't even really have to plan my ticket. We should. But I know if I go to the train station today and I wait long enough, the train's going to show up that I need. And that's what the proximity principle does. It makes sure that you identify the right people in the right places, and it tells you how to connect, how to get there, and what to do when you're there so that people go, I want to help Tyler. This guy's hungry. He's humble. And this guy wants it. People want to help people like that, but you got to ask. So that's why you need the book, because it's the manual to climb your mountain, your dream, your pinnacle. I give you the guidebook. And oh, by the way, I'm in the book sharing with you my story, and I'm walking with you the whole way.
That's right. So let people know where they can get the book and how they can stay in proximity to you.
Yeah, we got
Give
a
them
great
your social
deal.
media and your show and everything.
Yeah, so to connect with me in general, I'd love for you to go to kencoleman.com. Tons of free resources. We got a great store there with some great things like the Get Hired course, which is a digital course, 11 videos taught by me on how to get hired. Whether you just need the day job right now because of Corona, is taking you out of work, or you need to get on the path to the dream job. We've got a video course there. We've got the book, The Proximity Principle, in all three formats. That means ebook, audiobook read by me, and the hard copy, all for $20. I think it's $25. 3 copies of the book, one low price. That's at kencoleman.com. It's the best deal anywhere, but you can get it wherever books are sold. But again, I'd love for you to connect with me on Instagram at Ken Coleman. We're dropping every day on Instagram. We're going to give you some material that will encourage you, equip you, and entertain you as well. So we'd love for you to follow me on Instagram at Ken Coleman. KenColeman.com is the website.
Ken
Check
Coleman,
out the
everybody.
show. Got to listen to the show. Tell them what it's like. Listen to real people call in every day. It's not me pontificating.
Nope. You got real situations, and you'll probably hear a situation similar to yours, and you'll hear Ken give out nuggets and wisdom that will probably apply to your situation too. So wherever podcast platform you're listening to this show on, you can also listen to the Ken Coleman Show. Highly recommended. Ken, can't say thank you enough for taking time out of your schedule to come and share all this great wisdom with our audience today. Thank you.
Man, anytime. And again, I love what you are doing. You're helping so many people. And Talat, really, you are the example of what we talked about today. Somebody who is living and working in their sweet spot. And we don't have to fire you up on Monday mornings. You are fired up because you're doing what God created you to do. So keep doing it at a high level.